What's up, CFO gang? It's your boy Jay Tuck, real Cowboys fan stand up. And yo, today I want to talk about a hot topic, and that's the Dallas Cowboys running game. And when it comes to the running game, it starts with Tony Pollard. Now, a lot of people had high expectations for Tony Pollard this upcoming season, self-included. I mean, I drafted him in my fantasy league over CeeDee Lamb. I know I messed up, right? But there was a lot of people, self-included, that thought Tony Pollard was going to come in and take what he did last year to a whole nother level. Now, to be fully transparent, he's not playing bad. But when you go and compare and contrast versus what he did last year, it just hasn't lived up to the expectations. I know a lot of people are talking about a multitude of different things, but what I want to do is dive in, right? Because this year, he's not playing bad, as I mentioned. He's 6th in carries with 235 carries. He's 10th in rushing with 935 total yards, 5 touchdowns, which is 19th in NFL. That's not Zeke-ish, right? But he's 31st in yards per carry, averaging 4 yards per carry. Now, if you compare that to last season when everyone was going through Pollard mania, right? Yeah, he was 23rd in carries with 193, 1,000 yards pretty much, 15th in the NFL, 9th in touchdowns, 7th in yards per carry with 5.2 yards. So there has been a drastic decrease in his production, right? He's gotten more opportunity, but less production. And if you also talk about the thing that really made Tony Pollard special, was the big yard runs. And last year he had 31 10+ yard runs last year. This year he's only at 20. So a lot of people and Cowboys fans are scratching their head wondering what's going on with Tony Pollard. So let's go ahead and dive into the film, because I think we'll see a few things where maybe we can fix it just in time. All right, so when it comes to this first play versus the Detroit Lions this past Saturday, right? Like I said, it's not all on Tony Pollard. It's a multitude of different things, which we'll see in today's case study. But you'll see what's going to happen here, right? You're going to have Jalen Tolbert motion in, and you're going to have Tyron and Tyler Poole, and there's really nowhere for Pollard to go. Now, I know a lot of people say on this RPO, right? You know, he could have cut backside, right? He could have cut back here. Now, possibly, right? And this really comes down to a feel for the game. Is he seeing it? And honestly, as I go through the film, I just don't see the vision and the burst and the decisiveness of Tony Pollard this year to plant and cut back, right? So as of right now, he's just running into this huge cluster, and there's nowhere to go for TP. And on the second play right here, you'll also see some more RPO action. And once again, it's decent blocking up front, right? But it's just the hesitation in the hole. He's just not seeing it in cutting. Now, of course, Terrence Steele kind of comes off that block, right? But as of right now, it's like a hesitation when it comes to Tony Pollard. And I'm not sure if he's not trusting himself or is he not trusting the blocking up front. Now, on this play, you kind of see that burst. Now, I'll say this because a lot of people want to talk about the ankle injury. I think he's over the ankle injury because you have seen some glimpses of it. But the one thing I don't see when it comes to Tony Pollard this season is the elusiveness. And that's what really made him special. Like I said, his yards after contact has dropped drastically. I think he was at 5 yards after contact last year. This year, he's down to 3. So he just hasn't shown the capacity to make people miss this season. And I think that is the impact of why you're not seeing the big home run runs when it comes to Tony Pollard. So, like I said, one of the things, if you look at Tony Pollard, his yards after contact is 3.82 this season compared to last year. It was 5.2. So it's like, all right, there's different things that when you watch Tony Pollard, it's like, okay, what is really going on and why we're not seeing the wiggle when it comes to Pollard? Like I said, I think a lot of it could be, y'all, is that you're asking him to do a lot more and you no longer have Ezekiel Elliott to take away some of that contact, right? And some of that volume. So maybe his legs are wearing down. Maybe he's not trusting himself. He's having to do a lot more in pass pro. Those things add up throughout the course of a game. And I think it's really impacting Tony Pollard. Now, getting back to the film here, right? On this play right here, you're going to see Hunter Luepke lined up in the H-back. And this is where you'll see some slight hesitation from Tony Pollard, right? Good blocking up front. There's the hole. You guys can see that clear as day, right? If you're watching it, point to me where the hole is. You should be making the cut. But that extra false step right there, this step right here, boom, is a hesitation. You should have already made your decision to cut and get upfield. And so, like I said, that is what I'm seeing with TP. There's just, I'm not sure what is he not trusting, but he's just not hitting the hole like he was hitting the hole last year. Now, here's a compare and contrast. If you go back to last year, Tony Pollard versus the Giants, same scenario, but he plants, he sees the hole, he's going off to the races. There's no hesitation, and that's the Tony Pollard that we're trying to get back to, y'all. Zero hesitation. You see the crease, you hit the crease, you're off to the races. There's no false step. It's boom. It's smooth. It's butter, right? So he's not trusting something. I can't figure out what it is. I think it's a multitude of different things. I think it's himself. I also think it's the blocking up front. But this is what we're trying to get back to. And like you see, smooth. Soon as that crease is there, soon as this crease is right here, he's already made a decision. I'm planting, I'm going. Boom. Off to the races. Missed tackle. Seen his vision. That's the wiggle. That is the Tony Pollard that we are trying to get back to, and hopefully we can get back to by playoffs. Now, another thing, when you watch Tony Pollard, we all know, right? Zeke was the battering ram. He did everything in between the tackles. Tony Pollard was an outside guy. And so when you go to the numbers about Tony Pollard from last year, right, he had 224 yards on the left edge, right? Compared to this year, 88 yards. Drastic decrease, right? So I feel like the outside zone scheme that the Cowboys aren't taking advantage of, as of right now, the Dallas Cowboys are 28th in outside zone usage, and it's just impacting Tony Pollard because he's the type of guy, we all know this. It doesn't take a football, IQ to understand Tony Pollard is best on the perimeter, out on the edges, out in space. And so if you go back once again to the film last year versus the New York Football Giants, and there were so many other games I could have used, right? Look at the creativity of how they're getting Tony Pollard involved, but most importantly, getting him involved out on the perimeter, out on that left edge. This is where he's special. This is where the Cowboys have to get back to is, hey, you know your player, let him get back to what he's doing best, right? Get him back on the perimeter. And once again, you see on this left side, no hesitation, off to the races. Now, if you compare and contrast, right, the film clip I showed you earlier versus this one, watch the decisiveness. Soon as he sees that hole, he has already made up his mind. He is making the cut. Boom. Plant. No false steps. Off to the races. Hips. Feet up. That's the TP. That's the TP that we know and love that we got to get back to. And I think that we can, right? So a lot of people are asking, yo, Tuck, we only got about a game left versus Washington. Can we fix this? Can we fix this? Can we fix the running game? Yes. How I would fix the running game first and foremost is you got to block better up front. Got to block better up front, get to more outside zones, get to more duo blocking, which is double teams pretty much, right? Concepts to really create the space and the lanes for Tony Pollard to run to. But secondly, you have to spell Tony Pollard. Now, I'm warning Dalvin Cook, y'all. Will they bring him? There's interest. I do not know. But you have to lighten his load. Let him go back to being the lightning rod, the home run hitter. Having him as an every down back, it just isn't his game. So if you're not going to get Dalvin, then give me more Rico, give me more Hunter, Malik. It does not matter, but you have to lighten the load when it comes to Tony Pollard. And last but not least, Tony Pollard needs a momentum game, which hopefully this Sunday can be that, where he has to get back to trusting who he is, getting back into momentum, trusting his vision, because we all know the dynamic running back that Tony Pollard can be, man. So it's your boy, J Tuck. Follow me on all social media platforms at JTuck151. I want everyone to stay safe, stay blessed, stay encouraged. And Tony Pollard, we're going to need you. We're going to need you more than ever. Let's go. Peace.